Ventura. Hey, everybody. It's 7 o'clock. It's the Playhouse. It's Frank and Ant. How you doing, Ant? Oh,
what's going on?
That's not on.
I was looking at the monitor.
The monitor's not on. Yeah, it's all right. I'll do that right now. Anthony, how you doing?
Good.
I just tried one of Anthony's oil removing pads.
You say it like it's something I invented.
You did. You did. I never knew about that before.
Yeah, Frank was talking about how he was going to go to the bathroom to wash his face off, and I had mentioned, well, why don't you just use oil strips? And I don't think you knew what I meant when I said it, because you thought that I meant like wet oil strips or something.
Something like that. But why don't you put some oil on your face?
Yeah, why don't you just like put some oil on your face? It's supposed to
That's what I'm going to do. Next time we do this, I'm going to put some olive oil all over me just to get nice and slickened up.
Yeah, but I use these oil strips that they're basically like these blue strips. People in the chat room probably know. Some people at least.
Everybody. Oh yes, I use them all the time.
And it's just like, you know how like the oil spots appear on these blue strips. And I use them all the time. Anytime before I go on camera, I use them. Although sometimes, depending on the way that the camera is, the video footage is edited, it still can bring out oiliness. And when I use the oil strips before basically every single shot, when I was working with Danelle on those promo shots that I took a couple of months ago, still the way that Danelle edited those pictures, I can still see the oil. It's crazy.
Well, we're just slimy guineas.
Right, we're just these oily.
Well, all right, good night, everybody. Thank you so much.
Just olive oil skin.
Oh man. Well, yeah. Yes, that's just what we're dealing with. Tonight's going to be a good show, though. We have a mutual friend coming on, and I have interviewed him on my show back in January of 2024. And now we are, well over a year removed. His name is Toby Wright.
Yes.
Did you work with him? Did you know him? Like, how do we have him as a mutual friend again?
We were gonna be. We were supposed to work on something together. There was a project that we were potentially working on. He was also at the time he was working with an artist that I knew personally. So, it was like through other people, and we connected that way.
Well, he's got a lot of interesting things. When I found him, of course, we have to talk about the people he's worked with. I got a lot of questions. I'm sure you will too, especially since a couple of really notable people that he's worked with have since, and recently passed away. And I want to just know what, thoughts about that, maybe some stories or whatever. But Toby, aside from being a Grammy-winning producer and mixer and engineer, he got into sound healing technology. And I got all of his links in the description of this episode. The Talmans, I think it was called. That's the sound energy, the sleep aids, and all the other stuff. And that was a really great show because we were talking about just the power of the mind, the body, the electromagnetic universe that we kind of live in. And we can get into all that tonight. In fact, we might as well just pull him in.
Yeah.
Let us do it. So joining us right now, we're going to have a really great establishing shot. We have Toby. I know, it's wonderful. Toby Wright is a Grammy-winning producer, mixer, engineer, known for his work in the rock and metal genre, so we're going to have plenty of questions there. He's produced and mixed records for iconic bands such as Alice in Chains, Korn, Metallica. His career includes producing for artists like Slayer, Sevendust, Ozzy Osbourne. Man, oh man. Beyond that, like I said before, and this is where I got to really dive in with Toby in the past, he's gotten into developing sound healing technology aimed at improving mental health, sleep. It's great. Toby, welcome to the Playhouse.
Hey, man. How are you?
It's great. Great to have you.
What's going on, Toby? Long time no talk.
Yeah, Anthony, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Doing good. Good to see you again. Good to hang out.
Absolutely. It's a good hang.
Yeah, good hangs. That's it.
Can you just describe the setting that you're in right now? Because this looks like a very traditional studio that we've been in studios like this in the past, but a lot of things have changed. Do you have older technology around you that you just are comfortable with? Is this new stuff that looks classic? I don't know.
Oh, well, what it is, this is something I call the super truck. And what it is a, a 4K capable audio visual experience. I have an audio station over here. I have all this is video. I can show you that audio station real quick.
Oh,
And
Oh wow.
so we got
this
Pro
is very
Tools,
new.
we got a Yamaha LS9 digital console capable of 64 in and out. And let's see. Then you got me.
Wow.
How's it going?
You know,
This is a great
You
setup.
know,
I take back what I asked before. Obviously, this is all very new and very cutting edge. I don't know. It looks very classic. Maybe with the wood finish or something like. I don't know. But why? So you're in a truck right now.
I am. I'm in a parking lot and actually somebody's driveway. And I just set up a couple cameras and
Wow,
figured
that's
I'd
awesome.
come on the show.
That's such a cool setup. I've never seen
Right.
anything like that before.
Well, it's to record live concerts, whatever that I can get my hands on to record. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
You know what? Shannon got in touch with me and she said that we were going to be talking about Super Truck, and I looked into it, and of course your Super Truck link is in the description of the episode as well. And I saw just a little bit of it, and I was hoping that you would explain it first and foremost. But here you are sitting in it, and it's really amazing.
Well, that's the best way to explain it, right? Is to see it. And it is amazing. I bought this truck last year, last August, I believe, out in California, in Oceanside, California, from a public service or a public television station. That this was their backup truck, and the reason they were selling it was because they couldn't get it. It's a diesel. So they couldn't get it registered in California without changing the emissions on it, and that would be worth, cost more than the truck was worth.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I picked it up at a steal. It had 10,000 miles on it when I got it. And it's got like 14,000 on it now. I've been driving it around. I drove it back from California, and it was awesome. Had a good time.
So you're able to, like you said before, this is about recording and mixing, producing live events. What other stuff are you able to do and set up to do over there? And then we can ask you about broadcast capability, because obviously you're generating your own Wi-Fi and everything too.
I am. So I have a huge router in the back of this thing that it reaches the internet all by itself. And it's 4K broadcast capable, which, when I have the speeds, which I do now, I don't have them when I'm inside the garage though. So I had to pull out and, sit in the driveway, but, that means I can do it pretty much from anywhere. Right. I have 4 6K Blackmagic cameras on board with a variety of lenses that can get me all kinds of crazy stuff. And
Yeah, what's the camera that you're looking into right now? Because everything looks just amazing.
it's a Blackmagic 6K.
Yeah,
With a what is that, a 21 millimeter IRIX lens, and it's probably about 6 or 7 feet from me. And then this one is the same camera but a different lens. It's a 2470 Canon lens, and then this one is the same thing as the first one that I showed you, as the close up.
That's
But
incredible.
it's just
That's
pulled back and looking at something else.
So, all right. Well, I mean, I almost just want to keep talking about this truck for the next hour. So, what do you? Give us an example of a recent job that you were on, an event that you went to cover, and what you were able to provide for the event.
Well, it just came out of. I've just finished testing, right? So I did 3 test subjects and test sessions. And the last one was at one of the biggest green screens here in Michigan, and it's called Homestead. And it's beautiful. They had a band in there. Went in, recorded everything, broadcast it as well, and it was perfect. Then we did the same thing from a little bit closer to town in another place, and that turned out awesome as well. So it just, and I can add 4 more cameras. I have 4. I'm wired this switcher's as an 8 input, 10 output. So I'm able to do quite a bit of, 4 more cameras. And I have in the past. It's awesome.
So when you're on a job, are you the only one that's working, or do you bring on a small crew that everybody can? I don't know. Are you like the Phantom of the Opera back there, just doing everything all at once behind your organ, or what?
I wish I could, but I can't. So I need somebody sitting here at the switcher. I'd usually be over there at the audio station, and then when we had the band in here and stuff, I had a little producer and engineer sitting over here, rather the director rather, and she was doing all the calling and switching and all that kind of stuff. And it was, that was an 8 camera shoot, which was perfect. It rung out perfectly, recorded all on Pro Tools. It all syncs together. And, wow. I like it.
Yeah. That's just
really
great. That's just great. Secret. Are there any secret compartments in there? What's the best kept secret in, like, I don't know, or maybe a secret superpower capability of the thing? Something. There has to be something. The whole thing is a marvel, but I feel like there are so many hidden features in this thing that we'd be surprised.
Yeah, I think you would be. But I think the best feature of all has got to be the broadcast capability.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm looking at you like with this high quality camera. I mean, it's really the Black Magic is what my videographer has. He's got the Black Magic 6K. So to see that broadcasted, you don't see that too often,
Right. And so I had this. What happened was I was doing some streaming of live shows up in Flint, Michigan at the machine shop, and I kind of caught a bug because they had me in a little 10 by 11 storage container out in the parking lot. And, we were broadcasting from there. We only broadcast 2 shows, but I recorded like 40 or 50 of them for practice mainly. And, it was good practice because, when we broadcast those shows, they were pretty much awesome, like perfect. And from there, I caught the bug and I just said, you know what? I need a truck. And so I went on the hunt and I found this one about 4 or 5 months later. And then went and got it, and then bought the gear and installed it all.
I have to, we have friends. We have a lot of friends that are still. They go out and they gig, and to varying degrees. And everybody who has gigged even locally or has done anything regionally, definitely cross country, has their fair share of getting stolen from stories. And what you're sitting in right now, I'm not even going to ask you how much it all costs to develop and to construct and to test and put it together. But I have to imagine that this is very parked in a bunker somewhere when it's not being used.
You're absolutely right. It is.
Good. It's like,
or you have to put like a disguise on it. Like maybe the disguise is it's a taco truck. You have like a taco
right. Now, actually, it's a Wonder Bread truck.
Is it really?
So, yeah. So, I just pull the white sheet over it with the 3 little colored dots.
That's that. Don't.
Perfect.
Well, good. Because, geez, Louise, I'll tell you, that's incredible. So, Toby, there's a lot of people that are going to watch this, over the course of the next week or so, and then for all in perpetuity, who are meeting you for the first time. You got a really incredible resume. We dove into it a little bit about a year and a half ago, but now that we 3 are together, I don't know. We got to talk about some stuff because you produced so many great bands. I mean, and even little things like your work with Alice in Chains that included the Unplugged, which is honestly probably one of the top 3 unplugs ever to be done.
Yeah,
and I mean, everybody talks about Nirvana and Alice in Chains. That's top 3 in everybody's top 5. So
that's great.
Can you talk a little bit about that in particular?
Yeah, it's actually the disc that's right behind me, and so that was that came at the end of Lane's life, unfortunately. Um, and I think that it was such an emotional time for me. Um, and I just did the best I could to capture those moments, right? And it turned out that those moments are what's the best word? Highly sought after, maybe.
Mm.
I don't know. But I think I captured a little bit of magic in a bottle with that because it's definitely one of my proudest moments because capturing a live recording like that, is rare, first of all, and mixing it like that is rare as well. And to have it, when I went to master the thing, the mastering engineer, funny story, the mastering engineer came and said, "Man, I can't make it any better." I'm like, "What do you mean? That's your job. Make it better." Like, I know it's not perfect. He goes, "Believe it or not, it's perfect." I said, "No, it's not. It can't be. There's, nobody does that." And he said, "Well, you did." And he said, "Look at the back of that machine." And well, I had a, big 12-inch reel of half-inch sitting on a Studer tape deck. And in the back of that, or was it an ATR, one of the two, in the back of that, when it was plugged directly into the 1630, and at that point, they were making Glassmaster CDs. So it would, normally go through the console of the mastering engineer and, then be printed onto that Glassmaster, which would then be sent to the production facility. But he bypassed his console and said that everything was perfect. So what you're hearing is essentially, the console and the mix right off the console that I did.
Wow. And of course, it also speaks to the performance as well.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about that being at the end of Lane's life. That's often talked about just by music fans too. That you can tell that he's physically in a lot of pain doing that. He's in a world of hurt, but the performance is hauntingly eternal in that respect. It's just crazy for you to have such an intimate part in preserving it forever.
And I have to thank the band and Jerry and, Lane and Mike and Sean. I mean, without those guys, I'd just be sitting in a truck right now, or wouldn't.
In a bread, just if it wasn't for those guys, you actually might be in a bread truck.
That's absolutely true.
Oh man! So what else? I mean, there's a few other Anthony. There's a bunch here.
Yes, hearing you talk about the process of mastering, like
right.
You were just talking about the, I guess like the analog and all that. It's amazing to me because it just like it reminds me how much of a craft that really is, and because like I think about where everything has come now, like with digital, and how people just can throw a mastering preset on something, but now it's even going further with AI. And it's just like,
exactly.
it's really something else that I mean, that's how like, I mean, you were working with, I mean, that was the time, the quality of artists that you were working with, the quality of work you were putting out. I mean, it's the real deal, and
that was, those were the times, my friend. I think it was one of the greatest times in recorded music history, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. Right place, right time,
Yeah. When was the last time you cut tape?
Oh, probably 88, 90,
wow.
Something like that.
That's a long time. That's a long time. Speaking of 88, 89, of course, that's And Justice for All territory. And I know that you worked to some degree. You were an assistant engineer on And Justice for All, right?
I was an assistant engineer and an engineer. Yeah, I mean, it was a long project. It was about 7 months long, I guess. And yeah, I started out as an assistant. And then it was Mike Klink was producing and engineering. And then he got let go because he and Lars didn't really, see eye to eye.
I saw that interview. I've seen that interview with him talking about the creative decisions and stuff. But you were there, so man, what was that like? That whole, how long were the days? Like, It,
16, 18-hour days. And I had my wife had a baby in the middle of it all, who was a bit, who was premature at that time. So I was, 18 hours a day or so, 16, 18 in the studio. And then I'd go right to the NICU and hold my little child until I fell asleep. And the nurse would come over and wake me up and tell me to go home. At which time was probably time to go back to the studio. Um, so yeah, it was a very luckily I was young, right? And so I was like 26 or 27 at the time. And you
wow.
know, it I think it was one of the greatest experiences of recording that I could have ever had, because it definitely taught me a lot of patience, and it taught me how to do things differently and not stay in the norm all the time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you learn, when you learn things like that, you have to use them. Whether I would record like that ever again, that's up to the performers. But I have that knowledge under my belt, and I can cut tape, I can punch in drums with, on an analog machine and have it be seamless. Things like that are a skill I think that's learned.
What? See, because I grew up watching one of my favorite documentary. I don't know if you call it documentary, but it was a year and a half of the life of Metallica, and they documented the Black Album, the whole process and stuff, and I loved it. That actually
Right.
got me. That made me want to record music. It really made me want to just go into like a bunker and record music at 3 o'clock in the morning with dim lighting, and it was just so cozy, like the whole thing. And
Right.
when I think about that, I'm like, everything before, like all of the classic Metallica albums that are considered, uh, I mean, to a lot of people, some of the greatest metal records of all time, including, I mean, I've heard so many people say Injustice for All, the only thing that's stopping it from being the greatest metal record of all time is the mix. That's what a lot of people would say because of the bass. It's all about like
Right. Right.
not having the bass in there. So it's like this whole. It's just amazing to think of. It's like what I would love to just be a fly on the wall, or I wish that they would have documented that time too. But what was it like? What were they all like as people? Like how was the relationships with Jason, and because he was new, and
Right. Right.
Yeah, Toby, to piggyback onto that again, and I'm sure just from being on the internet, this particular album is, I mean, it's always it's everybody loves telling the story over and over again about why there's no bass, and
Right.
and all of the engineers
Oh, yeah.
who were fighting with Lars. And because of that, so many people out there have taken it upon themselves to re-release the album with bass inside of it. So somebody who's there to watch the war, what are your biggest memories from that battle to produce the album?
Oh wow. Biggest battles. Oh, I don't know.
Well,
I
especially
mean,
like Anthony said that the new bassist Jason Newsted coming in, and
right.
he really doesn't have any say. What about that angle?
So Jason was, obviously he was new. And they were calling him Jason New Kid at the time, and harassing him and hazing him a little bit because that's what they do. They were just having fun. It wasn't anything real mean spirited. It was just having fun and building a camaraderie and things like that. They're very intense men. They really are. It's just at that time, it was it was a labor of it was very intense in the studio, as you can probably imagine. After the drums were done, then it took another month or so until the whole record was finished, right? And so I recorded all the bass with Jason, and then they would come in and okay it or not, right? And then we'd change stuff or not. And the sentiment in the room at the time was, if you can hear the bass, it's 2 dB too loud. So that led
Wow.
to, they carried that through to mixing with Mike Thompson and Steve Barbiero, sorry, Steve Thompson and Mike Barbiero. And they just carried that through the whole time. And, Lars carried around a Polaroid picture actually of the EQ that we invented that kick drum sound with, and he wanted that on everything, right? Just to punch that home, make that the kick drum sound, for that record, and there you go.
What do you mean? He wanted the EQ on every his kick drums or on everything?
No, just on his kick drums.
Oh, okay.
Because he wanted to maintain what we had, made in the studio and make sure that he maintained that. Which he did.
Let me tell you, regardless of what people would consider objectively good, or like,
Right.
talking about the bass and all that stuff, that is such an iconic mix for me. I love Justice, the Justice tones. I know it's like, it doesn't have that body that you would want with the bass and like which really brings a lot of heaviness. But could you imagine Justice without sounding the way it does?
No, well, he was talking about the kick drum. A lot of people say that was the birth of the heavy metal clicky kick drum that that everybody looked for, where it got really
you needed that to cut through for the like, because they were one of the first bands to do the machine gun riff in one,
Right.
like
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I mean, when you have, when your feet are moving that fast, and something like a kick drum is going that fast, then you have to have a lot of attack on it, or else you're just gonna hear whoa, 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 whoa. Well, how boring is that? You know what I mean? It'll muddle things up like crazy. So you have to have a lot of attack on it so you hear the individual hits.
That's it. That I'm telling you, it started a lot. It changed a lot of things. Moving. I don't know if other things pop up. I just think your resume is so incredible here. What about we're talking about Lane Staley's his life and of course early death, but we just had Ozzy die, and you worked with him. Any Ozzy stories you'll never forget that nobody else really knows
Ooh,
that you can tell?
not really. I will say that I love Ozzy. And I miss him dearly. I think he's missed by the music community dearly. And one of a kind. I had a lot of fun working with Ozzy. And I think we made some great songs. And that's, I'll miss him forever.
What was your what was the favorite
all I
track
can
that
say.
you worked on with him with?
Oof. What was it called? The Darkness? It was bad memory.
It's all right. I mean, you can only remember so much.
Yeah,
Jeez.
the titles escape me a lot of time, and then I'll listen to a song and go, "Oh, I know that song. What's the name of it again?"
I'm the same way.
Well, you also. But what about this? Because there's been. What about Ace Frehley? Did you? I know you worked with Kiss, but was it when Ace was in the band?
No.
Okay.
It was it was Gene Paul, Bruce, Gene Paul and Bruce, and then Eric Singer.
Okay. Gotcha.
So
A lot
that
of
was
we get a lot of greats lately that we saying goodbye to. This year
Yeah.
especially. But
I know.
oh man, there's a lot there. But
Yeah.
so just for people who don't know where you pivoted from there, when did you start getting into the developing of frequency for mental health and everything else? Where did you stumble upon those revelations that hey, this sound can be used in a completely different way? And I want to dive into that a little bit. How did that all come about?
So I was in a car wreck in '07 or '08 in Topanga Canyon in California. I lived up there at that time, and I had really bad nerve damage to the whole right side of my body. And they gave me all the regular pills and all this kind of stuff, and that I was numb, so that all that stuff never helped. So then I just went to the internet and I found this thing called sound healing, which I had never heard of before. And I started, researching it. I had a studio in Woodland Hills, California at the time. And after, I think it was a couple months of research and gathering different frequencies that help with different ailments of your body that have been proven, mainly by Royal Rife and Company and some Tesla back in the day, before around 1920s or so, all this was going on. And, so I drew from all of that stuff that was on the internet. And I went to the studio and put together, I think it was the first one was like 24 or 36 different frequencies that I thought might help. And so I put them together and I put them all at 0 and hit play and went, ew, that's really horrible sounding. And so I decided, I was thinking, like, well, what do I do? How does this happen? Should I have more than one frequency? Should I have several frequencies? How does this work? And so I started with one, and that kind of got boring to my brain. And then I discovered that your brain really, really wants to have some, very complicated frequencies, or sorry, some, complicated frequencies to entertain it, so to speak. All right, because your brain, it always wants to keep you safe at all times, and it syncs to your environment at all times, right? And so, given that, I went on this quest, and when I made that first one, it was pretty interesting. I put it on CD, and I thought it sounded kind of cool after I went and had a cigarette and whatever, and I came back and I actually mixed it. I thought to myself, why don't I just mix this and see what happens? And so I thought, oh, well, it needs more bottom. So bring up the bottom end. Oh, it needs this, it needs that. And so I had, all these frequencies going at the same time. A lot of binaural beats frequencies are in there.
Yeah.
And so then I took that home and I put it on, a little CD player, ghetto blaster type thing next to my bed. And, just kind of laid there and listened to it. I thought maybe that, it'd be a good thing if I meditated with it or something to help, maybe it would help this, the nerve damage get healed. And so after about, I don't know, a month or so, I started feeling stuff in my arm, then down my leg. And I was like, whoa, well, this might be really working. So I kept pursuing it. And then I discovered that, I kept digging in and researching and researching. And, the more I learned, the more it became obvious to me that if I use these binaural beats in such a way that I could control my sleep and my REM sleep, which is where you heal. The average adult who gets 8 hours of sleep a night will get about 20 minutes of REM, which is the only way your body really heals. And so when that happened, I decided, okay, well, if I can hold myself down in REM, that means I can, in theory, you can heal faster, right? Because you'll stay in REM longer. And I did that. And I'm not sure if it was faster or not because I have no, benchmark for it. But I am healed. I can feel everything now, right? And, the only weird thing is a thing on my foot. And that's about it. So
did you,
Wow.
that's the crazy, you bring up Royal Rife, Tesla, and going even farther back than them, it's something that's come up in conversation a lot in shows I've done in the past about the bells of Europe, the old church bells of Europe, and what,
Right.
why were some world conflicts and other things really, part of the thing, the reason to transform the world physically through destruction and rebuilding is to get away from a lot of these structures like bells that were really used to not only let everybody know when mass had begun or had ended or what time it was in the town square to call people's attention, but that there was a health regulating power to it all. And that, bells are used all over the place. The tuning forks, they're huge. What have you found with actual guides of frequency? Because people say that they get into the minutia on this and they say, well, if I have this kind of an issue, if I have a blood-borne issue, if I have a cartilage issue, if I have some other disorder, that there is a frequency to match that and to heal that. There's not just one sound that gets it all. So how do you fine tune that and find the match for what you're looking to assist in its recovery?
I guess the best way to answer that question is, with all the research I've done, there's plenty of lists out there of frequencies that are corresponding to different parts of the body and different ailments. There's some out there that have, just all the ailments listed and then a frequency that can help with those, or several frequencies. If you're going after a stomach issue, then you might want to also consider everything below that, right? because your body has to get rid of the waste. So everything below that has to be able to get rid of the waste as well, right? As an example, um, it, uh, it's such a deep dive, Frank.
No, it is. It is, and
But I don't think there's one frequency that'll help do one thing. I think there are frequencies that help do many things. And I think that some I use sine waves, for instance, and sine waves are the purest form of a frequency. And so what that does is it eliminates all the harmonics from like an instrument. So a lot of people like guitar music or keyboard music or pianos. That's great, but to me, it has a lot of harmonics that are in that one sound, right? So if you hit an A on the keyboard, you're going to get things all around it. You're going to get the octaves. You might even get some thirds and fifths that might ring very gently. And maybe those aren't the frequencies that you want at that exact time, right? So maybe that frequency will get in the way of whatever you're trying to go after. Don't know, right? You would think that harmonically it would track, but I've seen where harmonics don't track. And so with that, I'm
That's interesting.
that's why I went after the sine waves.
I have your website. How do you say this again? Toms?
You say tomes,
Tomes.
tomes,
Okay.
and it looks kind of like this.
I got the
and you can-
website up there. TAUMMHOMS.com.
That's correct.
I had to imagine that was a very easy URL to buy.
It was.
Nobody had it.
I had to teach Google how to say it, and that's one reason why I'm getting back into a different one. It'll be called frequency files, and frequency files will be an extension of tomes, and I'll probably shut tomes down, but frequency files will have so many more different things that will be able to help. I have music that'll come your way. I have more of the nature sounds and more healing sounds as well. And we might even have some stories and some all that kind of stuff.
It's crazy.
So,
I've been, speaking of nature sounds and all that. So, Toby, I think I might have mentioned this to you. I think I've talked about this in the past that I've got I have tinnitus. I've been dealing with that, but it's like for me it comes in waves sometime, and that's usually what with most people.
Right.
There's some days where people forget they even have it. But anytime that I've had trouble, I would listen to a frequency that matched the noise, and it would tune it out. But like, what are your thoughts on tinnitus? What are your thoughts on actually if there's ever going to be a cure, or if there's a way to actually heal it instead of just treating and masking?
That I'm not sure of. I've read, various different reports. There's things out there now on, that I see on Instagram that if you rub yourself right here and
Right.
you do this with salt and whatever, blah, blah, oh, you'll be cured. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, so I can't really speak to that. I can only speak from my experience. And, the things that I have on tomes about ears, really do help my hearing, right? Everything that I've put on tomes, I've checked out and it helped me in some way. And that's the only reason I can, put it out there and say it might be able to help you too. But as far as the tinnitus goes, the masking seems to be the thing that helps the most right now, right? And can it ever be cured? Well, it's inside your brain. So it's not your ears, it's in the brain. So finding that that pathway that's disconnected and that's screaming at you from inside, that's the key right there, I think.
Oh, I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't know that it
Yeah,
wasn't ears.
I mean, the thing that that I was told is could happen. A lot of people with tinnitus, they have some form of audio hearing loss,
Mhm.
and
True.
And what is this about? Like your ears have, I think it has something to do with the hairs in your inner ear.
Cilia.
Yeah,
Right.
like they
Right.
you kind of lose those, and that's when you start losing your hearing. That's weird, isn't it? Like,
Oh yeah, it
think
is.
about
Yeah.
that. Like that's what causes hearing loss.
It's very strange. It's the ecosystem of the ear, the ecosystem
so
of the
strange.
nose and the sinus. I mean, you just think about the resonance. The resonance. I mean, as a singer, of course, just the way that your chest, your throat, your sinuses, everything. There, it's almost like the inner chambers of the pyramids. You talk about frequency chambers and frequency and somatics and all those types of ancient mystery sciences and stuff like that. It's our bodies are chambers just like the pyramids. It's so I don't know. We're always learning new ways that it all works. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, man. I think it's. I think we've been led down a really strange path when it comes to sound and healing and everything going on with like you mentioned the pyramids are just one small example of things acoustically that have been there for thousands and thousands of years. And oh, I get all hot and bothered thinking about it.
I know.
Well,
You
the
know-
monks. I mean, you think about like Mongolian throat singing and all
Right.
of that ancient, just ancient chanting and stuff like that. I mean, that's got to be tuned to something. Like that. They have
Well,
to be hitting on something with that.
I think, like for you, Anthony, like with your singing, it's all a chest resonance, right? And throat and head.
Right.
And I think with them, it's the same thing. They channel those frequencies that they need to hear and need to emit to, for the healing of, maybe they're doing a chant for, an older woman or something. And she, I think it's very cathartic is the word I'm looking for,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you know?
I don't know, Toby, if I ever told you this, and I don't know, Anthony, if I told you this either, but when I first interviewed Toby back in 2024, so a few people were asking about, hey, I want to hear the tomes. I want to get in on this, and I hooked up my friend Tracy with
Right.
Toby's products, because she has a hard time sleep. I thought this was so interesting. She's one of those. We have friends, Toby, who when they go to sleep, I've said this on my show before, they have involuntary out of body experiences. Like George,
Okay.
George, he
Do
gets
I?
shot. He gets shot out of his body nearly every night. That's why he smokes a joint before he goes to bed, just so that it like keeps him grounded. I don't know if he
Okay.
ever, whatever.
Wow.
Either way, my friend Tracy, she has the same kind of thing that happens to her, but it's lucid dreaming instead. She's not leaving the body, but she's lucidly dreaming. And because she lucid dreams so often, she rarely gets a good night's sleep. And so I recommended the tomes for her to go check it out. I guess she had the wrong frequency
Oh
because because it magnified. You want to talk about binaural beats and having frequency assist in your journey through an ethereal plane or something like that.
Okay.
It was almost like Max. She said, Frank, I didn't sleep last night. It was crazy. She said I was everywhere but in my bed. It was just,
Wow.
yeah. So it actually, so I said, well, you got to find another. You probably,
Restless dreams.
I don't know.
Restless
Right.
dreams.
it's crazy. I mean, as an assist through that kind of people are always trying to figure out how to lucid dream so they can take a little bit of control and just use it as a play space. But she got the opposite of what she wanted. She actually got a little bit more of it.
Right. Right. Yeah. Astral play. You need to be really trained is a good word to go there. You know what I mean? Because if not, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to put it.
Yeah.
In some way. So yeah, unless you're really trained there, I wouldn't suggest it. But if it just takes her there, that's an interesting thing.
It is. I mean, there's a lot of the lucid dreaming frequency guides, the bells. Yeah, that is so. What else? So what else is going on with you these days, Toby? I mean, we opened up with the truck, which that's just nuts. Is that for anybody? Like, let's say
Yes.
somebody puts together a local show or whatever. Is this really within somebody's an average person's budget to be able to get something produced?
Absolutely. I'm trying to make it affordable for all. Within limitations, of course. I need to pay for crew and blah blah blah. But at the same time, I'm trying to make it so that a band can just come in. We can set up somewhere and we can broadcast, right? And it's content galore, basically. And if yeah, I mean, I'd love to do weddings. I'd love to do, anything that is fun, right? And has a picture and a sound that, we can put together, broadcast to people that, are far away or near, and they just couldn't make it, and it's more, I'm looking at it more as of a convenience, to the creator and the content maker, and trying to help out with all that kind of stuff,
Yeah. That is, I can see you going on tour with an act one day, just signing on for short stints of tours, putting together what would become. I don't know if bands even do home video, live DVDs or anything like that, box sets. That,
I mean, what do they really need to? Well, they just have a channel.
I know.
They just put short
Right.
clips up on Instagram. They put short clips up on TikTok. I mean, you don't need to anymore.
right. That's why I would say it'd probably be best for Toby to be called in for a, hey, we got a festival going on and we want to do this up right. Would you be able to, even from that truck, send a feed to like say a satellite, so there's some kind of a television uplink or whatever? You would be able to feed this to other broadcast syndicators.
Absolutely. It's set up so that, I can sit right beside an ABC or a CBS at a big, huge sporting event, and be able to feed them certain things that they want. If
Wow.
I'm, let's just say the wild one, the Super Bowl, go in and play into the locker room and interview players. Well, somebody might not be able to get in there, but if I can get in there and they can take that feed from this truck, good to go. You know what I mean? It's pretty easy once you get the cameras rolling to have the feeds, go to different spots.
Well, the other thing is that if you have, if you're live streaming a band,
Mhm.
and you're recording that too, I mean, with that quality and stuff, then you can cut that up in any which way you want. I mean, like
Right.
and post clips and all that stuff. I mean, there's just so much value to that.
So what I was thinking about the last time, or recently, was, finding a band that's, out on tour, and maybe they come to the last 4 or 5 shows, and they want to record those because they're hot right now, right? And something for the end of the tour, so I can come in and record those last 4 or 5 shows. We can pick the best of those shows or the best songs from any of those shows, and then they can make a live album. They can make the content for days, all kinds of stuff. And I think that some people are shy about recording like more than that, because they're afraid that if they stream, that people won't leave their houses and come to the show. And I can see that happening in some cases, but not really all cases.
And people are wondering in the chat room. Shane in the chat room just wondered: is this a long haul truck? He assumes that it is.
Long haul, what does that mean? Like I have a sleeper in it and stuff?
I guess so. I don't think it's an 18-wheeler. It doesn't look like it's that big.
No, it's not an 18-wheeler. It's a 18-foot box truck, and it's a 2005 Ford, if you must know.
2000. Okay, well there you have it.
But
Ford.
it's only got 13,000 miles on it.
Oh, you mentioned that. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. I know that we talked a little bit about your broadcast. We have there's another frequency question, so let me get to that real quick.
Okay.
Rosie on the Pilled chat says, I want to know which frequency, I guess on the Tom's website, which one is the one to listen to for anxiety or any kind of relief in that respect?
Let's see. Probably, if I remember correctly, a tune is a good one, but I can pull that up right here, and I can. Let's see. Ha. Um, I got to sign in and do all that stuff. Oh
You know
my
what? You
goodness.
know, while you're doing that, I'll just tell you what this reminds me of. It almost
Okay.
reminds me of the secret back room in Ace Ventura, where
Yeah.
the guy is tracking all of the whales, all of the whaling fleets and all that stuff, and he's just kind of like got his own little.
Oh, do you mean what's the password? New England clam chowder.
Yeah,
The red or the white?
I know. That's what I feel. I feel like you need a password to get into this truck, and Toby's got literally everything anybody could ever need in this truck. It's incredible.
Pretty much. It's yeah. I mean, I look around and it was a dream at one point, and now it's here. You know what I mean? It's like it came true, and I don't know what to say after that.
This is a dream you had like at a time when it was not possible for the rig to exist technologically, and now the times caught up with your vision, or what was it?
Well, I was, like I said earlier, I got the bug about a year and a half ago or so, streaming up at the machine shop, right? And so, after that, it was like, okay, look for a truck, look see what's on. And once I found one, I was like, oh God, dude, just do it. I went out to Cali, I checked it out. I was like, this is the truck. It's perfect. It was all what they call rack ready. So all I had to do was install gear and wire it up, and everything
Well,
worked perfectly.
my question is, how come they couldn't have a truck that took diesel?
Because of the California emissions.
Oh.
They changed the emissions laws, and so this diesel doesn't pass California emissions laws, and so they couldn't re-register it.
All right.
And
So it wasn't just
yeah.
because they thought it was a pain in the ass.
No.
It was just
Oh no, my gain, their loss.
there you
Yeah.
go.
So that's how you have it. Well, I have a couple more. Well, obviously there was that anxiety frequency question. I don't know if you found the answer for it yet.
I have, and the answer to that question is one of the first ones, which is called a flux, and it's under the sounds of healing. I could probably do this. Can you see that?
The sounds of healing. I do.
And then this first one right here is called a flux, and it deals with when I wrote all these, it deals with nerve pain, right? And it deals with frequencies that are aligned with love and joy and all that kind of good stuff. But at the same time, this is the one that I used that helped me get over a lot of the pain that I was experiencing and a lot of the numbness.
And a brew bark in the chat room says, "Hey, can you please ask Toby if he's aware of Dan Winter's work, the golden ratio, pi or
Yes.
phi times multiple the Planck times the Schumann resonance? So resonance. So you do know about this."
I do. I'm not. I do know about the golden ratio and the Schumann resonance, and I kind of know how they're tied together. But it's pretty complicated.
It's crazy that we're talking again because I always say whether it's no matter what the hell's going on over here, whether it's my show or the ones we're doing together, Anthony and I co-hosting, seems like there is an invisible hand that kind of writes everything together. And the last week, I've had several conversations that led into one leading into another about EMF chaos that we live inside of, and everybody's the way that everybody is affected by it. Some people's theories about how a cell phone, everything from cell phone towers to harp to this thing or another, is actually the real reason why we had all the auroral activity in the country over the last week, and it wasn't, sunspots or whatever. And what really all just came around to was this common theme that we are in so many ways living inside of this radio frequency chaos that goes so far beyond what is naturally occurring. You think about things like the Schumann resonance and whatever's getting us cosmically, but there's so much more layered on top of it. I have to imagine, are any of your frequencies designed to nullify a space to give people, almost like maybe like a room where they can help neutralize all of the Wi-Fis and all the cell towers, things that are just piling on top of each other. Have you ever had something like that brought to your desk?
I have. And there's not really that much you can do about it except for blocking those EMF frequencies, with fabric and things like that. You'd have to have a frequency jammer, basically, which are highly illegal. So, you'd have to have one of these to protect yourself, right? But you can do it with shungite. You can do it with, the fabrics that they make, kind of like a copper. I saw somebody had a copper jacket the other day. I think it was on Rogan, and that is said to have it creates like a Faraday cage to where nothing can get inside of it, right? So you put your cell phone in the pocket of that jacket, it won't ring. It doesn't get any signal in or out.
Wow.
And so these are some of the things that you can protect yourself with. Copper is an amazing metal. It really is.
Yeah, I try to drink out of as much copper cups as possible these days. I've been getting schooled on things like electroculture for about 2.5 years now. So I have not gotten any of the vests though. I don't have any copper underwear yet. I don't have anything like that. I have made it a point to stay away from the polyester though. I heard that is like the worst thing that you can have on your skin, let alone your testicles.
Exactly. So cotton is probably the best thing, and yeah, the frequency, clothes actually have a frequency, and the polyesters and all the man-made stuff has a frequency of absolutely zero,
Yeah,
which isn't a good thing to lay against your body at all ever. Do we just do it because it's there? Yeah, here's my gloves, put them on. Okay. But, if we had better, wool, for instance, is an amazing product that, when it's natural, it'll keep you warm forever, and I have this thin little hat that I wear on this bald head that, it keeps me warm even in the 30-degree nights of Michigan.
yeah. There's quite a few people who are contributing that linen is also very good as well. That's what people are putting in the chat room. I know we already talked about your recording history, though we only scratched the surface. But somebody, I believe Dan, wanted to know what is your favorite recording of all time that you were a part of? The favorite session, whether it's a combination of the crew that you were with, the band you were with, the music you were producing. What's the one that stands out the farthest above all?
Wow, Dan. Whew. I don't know. Kiss was a lot of fun, that's for sure. Alice in Chains, though, I think was probably the most creative that we ever got, or that I was a part of being. Jar of Flies was made in 10 days, from no songs to a record. And I thought that was, that's one of those things that.
Wait. No song. You're saying in 10 days they wrote a record, and in 10 days a record was written.
Okay. So, so Jerry called me from, they were just on the 94 Lollapalooza tour. So he calls me from Australia and says, "Hey man, you want to, be a part of making an EP with us?" I said, "Absolutely." He goes, "Okay, meet us in Seattle." Okay, cool. So I flew up there. we're all sitting around in the studio, came that day, and it's like, oh, all right, well, what are we going to do? Well, how about some of those songs, Jerry? Oh, funny thing about the songs, I don't have any. Hey, Mike, hand me that guitar. And so he gets an acoustic guitar in his lap and he plays what turned out to be the chorus of No Excuses. And he goes, "What do you think of that?" I said, "Well, that's a good start." So we went out and they jammed for 10 days. And Jerry said, he asked me, he said, "Do you mind if, we jam for the next 10 days? And if something happens, something happens. If it doesn't, we had a good time. How about that?" I said, "Excellent. Let's do that." And that's what we did. Absolutely.
10 days. And these are incredible stories. Wow. That's fantastic.
They didn't have any songs. And so he just made them all up as we went along.
So it really just took them 10 days. Then that was like, so after 10 days, what did they just like, they just presented them to you? They said, here are the songs.
Oh no, they were already done recording. We're done. I mean, I went in the studio day one, we set everything up, did everything that you would normally do. And then we just, had a little powwow. We started with No Excuses and, worked on that for a little while because, Jerry had that riff going. And that was, I think, one of the first songs we did. And then, as we kept going, I think that was another 16-hour a day type of environment.
So was No Excuses, was the way that they wrote, would the music come first and then they would just figure out the lyrics after?
Well, in that whole case, we did some tracks in, downstairs in the studio, and Lane was upstairs. It was at London Bridge Studios in Seattle. And Lane was upstairs and he had his, little machines, and we'd make him tapes and he'd take them up there and, listen to what we were doing down there and then write lyrics, and he'd come downstairs and say, "What do you guys think about this?" And we'd play it back. And, I don't think one of us ever said, "Nah, that's not good." It was always so fucking good. So he'd go back upstairs and, finish it up. And, then he'd come downstairs and go, "Okay, I'm ready to do my vocals now." So, boom.
Well,
and then you're on.
So not only was that the most memorable experience that comes to mind first and foremost, but it has to be the easiest experience too. I mean, how can you, you talk about a flow state to be able to do all of that from soup to nuts in 10 days. That had to have been the smoothest, time out there.
I don't know about smooth. It was definitely, like I said, 16, 18 hours a day. So, I had a hotel. I only think I saw it like 3 or 4 times, because we would just go and go and go, and just, "Oh, you want to sing some more? Here, let's go." I know it's only 5:30 in the morning, and that's okay. I'll go get some coffee in a few minutes. It's only rock and roll, but we love it.
But we love it. That's it. Well. I don't know, Anthony. Do you have anything else? I'm really happy that we got to spend about an hour together. I'd love to talk to you again soon, though, Toby. There's so much we can do, and you've got so many other amazing projects you got going on. The fact that we got to talk about your truck over here, the link for that is in the description of the episode. That we got to go into the frequencies and all of your leading up to that. There you go, thesupertruck.com. Go check
it out. Yep, and you can book it there. There's I didn't put up the link, but it's a support at thesupertruck.com, and that gets you right to me, and we can book your event and have a good time.
That's awesome.
Well, I hope that people get in touch with you. I hope they do.
I hope so too.
And when you start getting even bigger bookings, like, hey, we're doing some incredible festival out here, you got to let us know, because that's going to be awesome. At least to be able to tune in to whatever finished and produced stream you produced that you are able to cast out there from your truck. I'd love to just see what you're doing.
Absolutely. And, maybe someday it'll be a, quite frankly, TV live from the Super Truck.
That would be awesome.
That'd be
or
great.
whatever the hell we are. I just feel like where we are right now, Toby. That's why I love watching somebody who's done so much in, what you've accomplished over a career, and that you're still creating new things. I look at New Year's when we're here, knocking on the door of December of any year, and I think about, okay, well, we're about to get a fresh set of downs. What how are we going to step outside the box this year? That's what I keep thinking. Like, that's why, me and Anthony over here, we started a show. Every other Friday we co-host a show now, and I said let's just do something different, see what the hell happens. That'd be awesome, if we all found a way to get on the road for a special project one day or another, and cross paths with people like you in the flesh.
Absolutely, dude. Anything's possible. Dream it and then do it.
Exactly.
It's I don't know. I think I'm a very lucky human, in the fact that in my whole career I've just been a go-getter. You can't stop. And when I got that bug up in Flint, it was like, oh my God, I have to keep doing this. Because I think that artists really need it, because a lot of the content out there, it's not very good. It doesn't sound good. Some of it looks okay, but most of it doesn't look good. And I'd love to see, better, more everything content.
Yeah.
Honestly, people, and when it comes to music content, speaking of just on that side of things, people really do need to see more live stuff, even if it is, live videos that are cut up on even on the internet. Like live stuff, like people need to be out live and seeing stuff, but there should also be live stuff as content, because we've seen and I'm a great example of that. Everything I do, I could do a lot, but I do it in the studio. So there's that element where it's like, people, they don't know for sure if what they're seeing is done on the spot, is pre-recorded, is this and that. But when you're live out there and you're seeing people, like, if you catch like the atmosphere and there's bystanders and people reacting to something, it's like there's no doubt, okay, we're a part of an atmosphere and experience. We're seeing someone perform, and this is way more interesting, because it's just like it's oversaturation with everything else. So I think that's a really good thing in that respect.
And that's pretty much the premise of why I wanted to go this far with this, because I love live concerts. I love live shows, and when they sound good as well, it's like, oh man, and those performers are just doing what they do. And, it's a great show that night. You can't beat that, and, records are records, and they, you can overdub and overdub and overdub till you get it perfect. But that live show is once, right? You hear it and it goes by if you're live. And, to record something like that, it's just, like it is like the Alice in Chains Unplugged, or even, Jar of Flies, right? Just the recordings, the Alice Live, the Unplugged is an amazing recording, because it was just captured as a performance, right? And that's what it turned out to be. So I'm excited to, get out there with a lot of musicians and, capture their best moments on that stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anthony and I were talking about AI, all of the AI. I'm sure that you have plenty of flowery things to say about AI tools and music and AI music generation and all that. I'm sure you have a lot of great things to say. But one of the things that we were talking about when we were just trying to go beyond the baseline opinions about whether or not we think it doesn't sound good or not, and whatever. And the principle of the thing is that, and I brought up live, not only live recorded stuff in studio, but also live concert recordings. Said, when you hear a Frank Sinatra album that it was recorded in the 1960s, you can hear the room. You can hear you can actually hear the room that was in a New York or Los Angeles recording studio in the United States of America during a time when people you knew were alive. Like it's an imprint of a real universe. Whereas everything that we hear that is generated by an AI tool or something like that may sound objectively symmetrical and good, and it has all of the things that you need structurally in a song, but it comes from a dead universe. And what you're saying right there about capturing something, a moment that passes, it was only there for one one fleeting moment, you got to capture it. That's a really human thing right there.
And I love that. That's one of the main things is, when I was up there in Flint, just the people that would take the stage, whether they were famous or not, were always giving it 110%. And that's one of the things that I really love about musicians that do their thing and just give it their all the time. And like Anthony's got like a million voices or 1,000,001 voices inside that body over there.
Right.
And to see you out there, doing your thing, it's exciting, dude. And to see all musicians out there just doing their thing, I live for that, I think.
Well, it's been wonderful talking with you, Toby, and everything that people need to go and find you and the work that you're doing is in a description of this episode, and I hope they do. There's definitely enough to make a couple of really great clips from this conversation.
Absolutely.
I mean, such good. We should check in with each other every couple of months or something. It's just great.
Totally.
It's awesome talking shop with you.
Love to. And I'll have hopefully Frequency Files will be coming out early next year. My developer friend just reappeared, so hopefully all that'll be going well. And I am looking for some bands for a television show, but we can talk about that next time. I don't know how to approach that one right now, but I have a TV show in mind, as you can tell,
Wow,
with all
really
these
cool.
cameras.
Well,
So, hit me up.
I'd have to imagine that because you thought it is going to happen.
Of course.
No doubt.
Think it, dream it, and make it happen.
Toby
That's
Wright
right.
music, right from his super truck, TobyWrightMusic.com, Toms.com, thesupertruck.com. We'll check out those links in the description of this episode. And can't wait to have you back, Toby. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Toby, it was great to catch up again. And
Likewise, guys.
absolutely.
Thank you both very much. And Frank, we'll catch up every couple of months. I think we should.
That'd be wonderful. All right.
Thank you, Anthony.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you. And thank you to Shannon out there, who's always very helpful in corresponding and getting all this stuff lined up.
Yeah, she's a great manager, and I don't know where I'd be without her.
Well, that's a good
Thank
thing.
you, Shannon.
There you go. Okay. Have a good night.
Thank you, you
All
too.
right, Toby.
Take care, you guys.
Take care.
Take care. Man, as soon as I thought he was going to be calling in from his studio, and that
Yeah, that took me by surprise. About the truck, I mean, looks better than our broadcast.
it made sense. Well, yeah, I know.
I mean, think about that, like a mobile. Once he said what kind of camera he uses, which is I think the same kind of camera, at least the same brand that Danelle uses. I mean, you're broadcasting from a Blackmagic 6K. That's insane.
Oh, there's the truck driving by. Look, there it is. There it is.
Nice.
Okay. Grow your vision. Wow. Okay. See, I didn't even go this far.
Cool as hell.
Yeah, I just wanted him to talk about it. But then, of course, when he snapped into view, boom, he was sitting in it.
That's cool as hell.
Okay. Well, listen, I mean, I have a couple of real quick things. First of all, you want to talk about live recordings? This was sent to me. Maybe Dad sent it to you. Did he send this to you? Metallica?
Oh, what is this?
This is Metallica live at the Rising Sun, Yonkers, New York, July 29th, 1983. I think this is the first time. That
It's on YouTube?
yeah. There's only like 4,000 views on this. He's in Yonkers. Someone says that this would probably be the first time that audio exists after the release of Kill 'Em All, because Kirk is already in the band. It's their summer tour, and they're in Yonkers. And take a listen to this. Hold on.
What? They played
They're using it back then.
They used it back then?
Let me get you on the screen here. Me and
They used the Ecstasy of Gold back then. That's crazy. Where were they playing?
this. It's
It was like a nightclub?
it had to have been. It had to have been.
So,
It's called Live at Rising Sun. Let me see here. I want to just see Rising Sun Yonkers. The Rising Sun.
It can't be still around.
Wait. The Rising Sun in Yonkers was a well-known rock music club that operated in the 70s and 80s, not a restaurant. It is now closed. The club was a significant local music venue, is famous for hosting early performances by major bands, including the show by Metallica in July of 83 as part of their first major U.S. tour. This is probably their first gig in New York.
Wow.
Ever. It was at a small little club in Yonkers, and now they do weekend stints at the Meadowlands. Anyway.
They really, we're going to take the ecstasy of gold and we're going to stick to it as being our intro.
I know. And then they go, here's hit the lights they open up with.
And who was Raven? Raven was like on the bill?
Motor Breath.
This is going to be the single off of it. This is a song about the hell in everybody.
Jump in the fire. People were screaming, jump in the fire. Dude, there had to have been like, what, 200 people there?
It's Motor
Listen to all that testosterone in the crowd.
One, two, three. I just want to hear the vocals.
Actually, hold on. Damn, he had a. That's a good scream. That's a good scream that Hetfield had back then.
I'm telling you, man. When Dad sent this to me, I said, "Wow, this must have been the first." And then, yeah, it's the first U.S. tour, so it had to be their first New York gig.
His voice sounds a lot deeper there though than the recording. You notice that?
Yeah.
So like, I love that they used Ecstasy of Gold back then too.
I know.
And we always had the idea of using Terminator 2, the theme, which would still be fucking, that'd be so fucking great.
Yeah.
Well, but what other themes would be a good theme to use? I have another one that I think would be a good theme to come out to.
What?
The victory theme in Gladiator.
Oh, yeah.
Put victory theme, Gladiator. Well, I don't know.
Whatever. We're not monetized anyway. I can always just cut it out. Victory theme.
That would be fucking perfect.
Let's see here.
I love that theme.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You remember what we used to do?
Oh, it's so glorious. What's that?
What?
Oh yeah, Stadium Crowd. Well, it actually sounds like the movie now. Exodus.
For those of you who don't know what's going on right now, Anthony and I, we used to get into the zone we had this idea we wanted to use when our metal band went out there and just really started playing huge shows, which we got to talk about that for a second. Because I know Tim and Kyle were on here the last time. And it sounds like they want to come back on the show like in December or something. But we thought that it would be awesome to have the Terminator 2 theme. And we'll get back to Gladiator in a second. But what we said was we're going to go out to the Terminator 2. Hold on. Terminator 2 theme. And we used to get in the mode and we would get our minds straight away, like seeing the crowd, getting ready. We're behind stage. We're ready to come out and do our thing. And the way that we prepared for that was we'd play the theme and we also inserted crowd noise.
Yeah.
Okay, so it would be this. Hold on. Hold on. And we would pretend we were getting ready.
It was some real law of attraction shit.
It works though, man. It gets you so fucking.
You can't deny it. You can't deny that like that. How that would just get anyone amped up.
That's fucking awesome.
Because it's the perfect length too.
Yes. Especially when it draws back.
Yeah. Builds up the anticipation.
Oh, fucking A, man. I can't. It feels too good.
I know. It is amazing.
That feels. Come on, chat room. Come on, chat.
That is pretty amazing.
That's awesome.
Also, Terminator 2, the not for nothing, but Terminator 2, that whole theme is played in the entire intro. And that is one of the greatest intros, most beautiful visually, is as much as it's complete destruction, fire and nuclear destruction. It is so beautiful with that song. Imagine that. Like, that is the intro of this movie. How legendary is that?
There is just too much. There's too much to be said about those two movies. It's one of those things. You know what's crazy about Terminator 2 as well is that you think about Godfather 1, Godfather 2. People have debates about A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. But Terminator 2 it makes you completely forget about the first Terminator. For me, I mean, I had to go back and watch the first Terminator. I think I might have seen that from start to finish less than a half a dozen times.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And if you go back and you watch it, it's a good film. It is I actually consider it more in like the horror. It's closer to like science fiction horror, to be honest, because it's nerve-wracking. It's almost like you're getting chased by Pinhead from Hellraiser. But it's this fucking robot, this assassin robot, and it's gruesome.
Arnold is, because I'm not even that familiar with Terminator 1. But he is the bad guy.
He's the antagonist.
Right? So that's why in Terminator 2 she's like, like fucking she sees him and who's now the good Terminator.
Yeah. When he comes through the wall and he looks at her, and I mean, you think about your worst nightmares come. So you need the first one to understand where the hell she's coming from and freaking out like that. She just watched this thing murder all those police. Because the police station, the scenes in Terminator 1 at the police station is brutal. Like, he just fucking murders everybody looking for her, because she is going to give birth to the resistance leader. It's really, it's awesome. It's great. But Terminator 2 just completely, once you get to root for the machine, forget about it.
And not to mention that Terminator 2 had state-of-the-art, revolutionary graphics. Because I don't think anybody up to that point, it wasn't very common. And that was in the 80s, right? Was it the 80s, Terminator 2?
Terminator 2 was 90, 91.
Okay, so it was... All right, so we're just going into the 90s. Not a lot of people were using CGI. And that was before that was before Jurassic Park. So we didn't even start using CGI for more complicated things. So like the whole liquid metal sequence. I think they use mercury. They use mercury and CGI.
They use mercury for the foundry scene at the end.
Right. But they did use CGI though.
Yes, and I remember, it's crazy. It came out on July 3rd, 1991, and I knew that it came out in the summertime because we saw this movie. You probably were not. You're probably like 4, whatever the hell it is. I was 6.
I was 3.
I was just about 6 years old.
Okay, maybe.
And we saw this movie. I remember we went to the Mamaroneck Playhouse. We were watching this in Mamaroneck on Mamaroneck Avenue, and it was like maybe like a 4 p.m. It's like somewhere earlier, like later afternoon. And I remember we were going there, and then we were going to go to Playland afterwards. And I was just excited about the whole day. We're seeing a movie about robots. We shouldn't have been there. we shouldn't have been there. But either way, we went to that, and that was incredible. Just from the fucking get go. I can't wait to watch these with Aurora, because they're.
Well, I remember Jurassic Park. I remember the conversation, overhearing the conversation in Grandma's living room, saying, "Oh, the dinosaurs will scare. Like, it's a really scary movie. This movie's very scary. He's 6 years old." Blah, blah, blah. And I was kind of nervous about it. I was a little nervous about seeing it. I was excited, but I was like, really, is it really that bad? And it changed my life. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure if I can see how Jurassic Park, like a movie like Jurassic Park, can be scary. Probably more in the fact, like in like, I think would be more scary is like when things are starting to go wrong.
Yeah.
And it's like raining and the score is weird and it's just that's kind of more freaky than anything. They really knew how to make they worked that movie so well. It's a masterpiece. But the actual dinosaurs though weren't scary. Like, that was just amazing. Like the fact that you really look at that now, like you can't even compete.
No,
you can't compete. Like AI, CGI, nothing can compete with that. Still,
no, they're the only.
I mean, it doesn't look perfect.
No.
You know what I mean?
You know where you can really nitpick is in the beginning when they see the brachiosaur in the daytime.
Yeah,
the brachiosaurus.
It's not perfect.
Brachiosaurus looks at this time, all these years later, it's a little cartoony, but I mean, you want to talk about people who were. They were so, and this is the whole thing. I feel like we were talking about this a little bit with AI and just CGI, computer generated images in general. There was a sparing use of the whole thing back then, and it was so perfectly blended with practical effects because you didn't want to expose the very primitive nature of the computer-generated images at the time. But you also want to leave something a little bit for the imagination to pick up on. That, especially when you're talking about, like, for example, Jaws, which is all practical effects because, there was no CGI back then. The absence of the antagonist is scary. Michael Myers, the absence of the antagonist is scary. Because where the hell are they?
Right.
And you don't get too much exposure all at once or at all. And I think that's why Jurassic Park was able to hold up for all these decades later, because it was perfectly blended with practical effects. Now, I remember, out being 5 years old or so and seeing all of like the Entertainment Tonight segments on television talking about all of the incredible computer-generated breakthroughs that were just done for Terminator 2. Like the T-1000, what's his name? Robert, I forget what his name is. The T-1000, the liquid metal guy.
Sopranos guy. He was in Sopranos.
Yeah.
The gambler.
The gambler, the degenerate gambler.
The degenerate.
He I remember that being like, you have to like them showing how incredible this was to be able to slip through the jail cell bars and still have the gun get caught because the gun was not part of him. You know, it was actually real. Like little attention to detail to that and how this was so groundbreaking. And then 25 years later, or however the hell long it is, you have the opening of Jurassic World where they have to CGI the sparrow that lands.
Right.
So
CGI the sparrow that lands next to a Pepsi can, and with purpose perfectly in frame.
Well,
Pepsi.
wait a second. Terminator 3 had horrible product placement. You want to talk about Terminator? You remember that?
Oh yeah. Well, Terminator 3 was ridiculous anyway. Like that was probably the most ridiculous one, because that was that was years later. That was the first movie back, right? And then before they went on the they went crazy with all those movies.
Right. Robert Patrick. Yeah. Thank you, Shane.
What was the product placement?
I think from what I remember, there was a tractor trailer, an 18-wheeler that was moving through, and something tells me it was like a fat burner, like a Xenadrin. Hold on, wait a second. Hold on, Terminator 3, because we're gonna wrap up here. Terminator 3 product placement. Let's see. All movie product placement. Dell computers, Nokia phones, and AM/PM 7-Eleven store chain. No, there's more. There was more. There was like a fat burner on the.
Maybe they didn't even realize, like
Pepsi Durex,
like the Starbucks cup in Game of Thrones.
Oh, there it is.
What is it?
It was Xenadrin. Hold on. Ridiculous Xenadrin product placement. Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines. Please load this picture. Why is it not loading? It was there in the preview of the page. Hold on. Here, take a look. You can see it right there. Can you see it?
Who was the girl?
She was the antagonist. Who's
the actress?
I forget. Xenadrin EFX.
Oh my god.
It was.
Maybe they get away with it because it was one of those trucks that has advertisements on them.
Yeah, I think so. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it makes sense in a real world way, where on the side of a truck like that you're going to see something. If it's in a movie, somebody paid for it, and it was so in your face. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like somebody's going to go and buy it. All right, here, before we go, take a look at this. I think this was funny. This is a Broadway version of Back to the Future.
You know, it's funny that they actually did this, because I remember once I made a joke years ago, and no one would ever remember this. I think I made a stupid video that I deleted about what if Back to the Future was a musical or something. And then it turned out happening. Is this an actual song, or what is this?
No, this is not a song, but there's a moment here where whoever is playing Biff, he starts coughing in the middle of his scene.
Oh, wait, so this isn't scripted.
No, this is not scripted, what you're going to see. And he's like working through a cough. And I think it's hilarious. Take a look at this.
What are you looking at, butthead? Say hi to your mom for me.
He's trying to make it work.
I know what you're gonna say, son, and you're right.
You're right.
Oh my god!
I love that.
What kind of? How is it? Like, does anyone know how this musical is? Or
I don't know, but I'm down to watch it. It can't be worse than a Bronx Tale.
I know.
I mean, I had a good time going out with us as a family, but to make gangsters do pirouettes is ridiculous.
Yeah, it was. I remember the biker coming up, and his mic was really, really distorted. He sounded like Chewbacca. He just walked up to them and was like, I don't know.
You know what? I would go to any play. I would go to any play as long as I knew something was going to go wrong that night. As long as I knew for sure something unexpected was going to go wrong. Nothing deadly, but just like something. Then I would be going to plays every weekend. Because
especially if it was a play like this, where it's like, that really, even if it's good, you're not going to have a play like Back to the Future goes on Broadway is going to be like some kind of like, oh, you got to see Back to the Future on Broadway. Like, it's not going to be like become like a legendary status, like say Jekyll and Hyde or something like that.
Right. No, yeah, absolutely.
So if something goes wrong on that play, that's even funnier because doesn't have a big reputation. It never really will.
And here's the last little thing I wanted to throw in. I think this was funny. Everybody gets scammed, and here is one of the worst scams that would probably still work on somebody, at least some people we know. Here is a scam. Somebody got a direct message by none other than the real Michael Jackson, 1111, and Michael Jackson says, "Hey, it's Michael Jackson. I'm messaging you from a private account. I'm not really dead. Can you cash app me $600 so I can come back to the U.S. and put out more music?" Why?
Who the hell? I just want to. I really want to see footage of the person typing that in. Like, I want to see where they are, who it is.
God bless them.
And what's. And if they're just doing it because they know it's going to be turned into a meme, or if they actually think there's a chance it's going to work.
It could be a chance. It could be a chance. Anyway, this was a great show, and I am so happy that we got this done. I'm glad that Toby came on. So next week is Thanksgiving. We'll be back with another episode of the Playhouse in that first week of December.
The 5th, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's Kyle and Tim,
they're coming back. We got to talk about when they come back. A theory I have, after now that we've been listening to I've been listening to so much of the Rotten Pain stuff that we did back in high school and college, because I didn't have everything to listen to on demand, and now I have everything. I'm listening to it all, and I'm starting to realize that with time and somebody producing us, getting tighter with the amount that we played, practiced, wrote, gigged. With time, we probably would have done some really interesting things. And I think that it was the best thing in the world that we didn't go any farther with the band. You think about everything we're doing right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably the best thing in the world, because I really think with the unrefined raw material there, we got to talk about that, what everybody thinks, especially since Tim has been out there and has played at that level, what he thinks if we went through the gauntlet a little bit more and refined ourselves, where we could have gone, and whether that would have been a good thing.
If I were to look at it from more of an objective point of view now, I would have said, look, let go of all the technical stuff, dial it back, way back, and go more in the direction of tear it down. That's what I would have said. Like, maybe, not like simple, stupid. You could do some stuff, but dude, just fucking make some bangers. Dude, make some like new metal-ish type bangers. Just fucking put some energy into it. And, and also have some kind of substance to the lyrics other than "I want to rip your fucking head off" and shit down your neck.
We're going to talk about this in December. A great point. And I think the greatest point there I started thinking about was like that one riff in Your Dying Day.
Yeah.
Riffs like that get repurposed and
we're gonna be like exactly, like groove, simplicity, and just really, really catchy, high energy shit.
Yeah.
That and that's usually the stuff that breaks through anyway,
Well, we'll be doing a lot of breaking through over the next couple of weeks. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, guys. I will see you all tomorrow night at 9:00 for a a Saturday night lounge. Anthony, if anything clears up for you, you have nothing going on, you're bored, you can swing by. I might pack a hookah. I don't know. But other than that, enjoy your weekend, and thanks for tuning in to episode 4 of The Playhouse.
Yes.
Good.
Have a good weekend.
Good. Get out. Get out.
Now get out of here. Now get the fuck out.